You're very live. Good. Like being live. Hey, today, as in the description, it says that I'm talking about the paranormal and about history. But today, I like to focus my attention towards the people that are into the history, especially the historians, because when it comes to any kind of paranormal investigation, to me, the history part to me is just as important as all the rest. Hey, Tinker, and that. And you see, in previous videos, I've said that it depends on the group whether they use spiritual, scientific, or history. Okay. Well, today I'd like to talk about, um, especially historians that really enjoy the paranormal, or they got a keen interest in the paranormal, and that. Well, as a lot of historians know, that depending on the country and that as to how much history there is, okay, um, I found personally that in the UK, yes, in the United States has quite a bit of history too, and that. Yeah, when it comes to Canada, I find Canada is probably the youngest, but yeah, there's still a lot of history there and that. But there's other areas of the world where there's a load of history. Okay, like certain cities in ancient times. For instance, ancient Italy, ancient Egypt, ancient Mesopotamia, and also I know if it's in Mexico that you got the ancient Mayans. I know it says I'm not sure if that's in Mexico or if that's in Peru. It's one or the other, and that you got the story about the ancient Mayans, and that. Well, sure, there's a lot of really fascinating history about those locations, but I can almost guarantee that there's going to be some level of spirit activity in those locations, especially after I did some research, especially, believe it or not, in ancient Egypt. And that there's a lot of, there's a lot of history, but there's also a lot of sightings, like hauntings, believe it or not, and that. And the one area, well, actually, there's a couple of stories. First of all, near the Great Pyramids, okay, there's been sightings of a pharaoh in his chariot going through the desert. People have actually witnessed that. And also, there's stories of a certain well-known pharaoh that he reigned during the 18th dynasty. Okay, his name was Akhenaten. Okay, he was I think he was one of the first pharaohs that he actually got rid of the old traditional gods and he introduced new gods. And of course, the one god that he introduced was the Aten, which was I think it was the disk of the sun or something like that. Well, everybody wanted him dead because he had not only forsaken the traditional gods, but he's also broken tradition. He fired all the chief priests and that, and hey Tasha, and that, and as a result of what he did, that the chief priests cursed him, saying that he was to wander the desert forever as a punishment towards what he had done. Okay, well, there's been sightings of him around, and that, but the area that I thought was most fascinating was the pharaoh with the chariot zooming around, I guess hunting or whatever what he did when he was alive. Well, he's still doing so. I guess he's still see even in spirit. they like to do they like to do um, now as what they did when they're alive. Okay, now just to give you a kind of a taste or an idea of even though people have only seen the chariot and seen the pharaoh and that, but the kind of mindset that they had was basically the kind of religion that they followed. Okay, like they basically lived their religion. Okay, and in the history books it said that the one thing that the pharaoh had to have before he died, okay, was a book of the dead. Okay, which was basically his guide into the afterlife, and that, and the interesting part is that um, any psychic mediums that have ever visited the Great Pyramids, okay, they have actually said that some of the pharaohs were actually shocked to find that of what they had believed in their faith while in life, well, of what they experienced when they came out of the physical, of what they experienced afterwards was so different. Okay, like they thought that he'd go through this judgment thing, test and all that kind of stuff with the aid of the Book of the Dead as a guide, through the afterlife and that. And their idea of heaven basically was known as the field of reeds. Okay, that was their so-called happy place. Okay, where the servants would continue to serve them. They would continue amusing themselves, doing, whatever, to find out that of what they had believed, a lot of it didn't happen. And a few of the pharaohs, instead of enjoying the afterlife, they're actually hunting for loved ones. They're trying to get answers as to what's going on, why people are not responding to their, like I heard of one pharaoh that he was constantly saying, I'm requesting something, but no one's listening to me. I don't understand. And that, and, and he's really, a few of these pharaohs are kind of confused as to why no one's responding to them. Because they see in life, they're not just a pharaoh, they're also considered a god as well. Okay, the god Horus. And that the interesting part is that there's certain things that they're trying to find that archaeologists and even tomb raiders have taken out of the pyramids and out of their tombs, and that they're trying to figure out what's going on, why things have gone missing. And in some cases, the actual pharaoh himself went to look for his remains, his mummy, and his mummy's gone. And he has no idea what's going on. Okay, that's been discovered through not only historians, but also through, different psychics that have visited those areas. So you see, the people that are really heavily in the history, even archaeologists, okay, that's another idea of an historian, because they're into the history of the ancient cultures, okay, and the study of their life way back then. So basically, with them, with these historians or archaeologists, learning more about what the ancient cultures were like, and then getting information from, any psychics that have actually visited those areas and actually made a link with the pharaohs or the chief priests, whoever, and that. And I'd almost say that the people that are into paranormal and the people that are into history, the historians and such, and that, like they're basically two. The one goes for the information, while the other does the exact same thing, and that. So you could say, in a way, a psychic medium is almost like an historian, but on the spirit side. Okay, they're trying to get information from the spirit side, where the historian is getting information from the physical side. And that, but combine the two, and that, okay, the psychic comes up with information about the ancient past. The historian comes up with information about the ancient past. Okay, one confirms the other. That's one thing I love about involving historians and people that are into history. And when they compare to what psychics have come up with, and that, because I know one psychic that he actually went to ancient Egypt a few times, and the stuff he came up with was absolutely amazing in that, and everybody should know him. And that, and he passed away almost a year ago, and that was Derek Cora. Okay, well he had a TV series that was called Paranormal Egypt, and I saw every episode and that, and one of the episodes that I thought was so interesting was on Khufu, and that, and he was describing what kind of a person Khufu was. Okay, and I think Derek's assistant, I can't remember her name. I think she was an historian, I think, or someone that had a heavy interest in history. I think her name was Trisha or Tish or something. I can't really remember what her name was, and that, but she knew a lot of the history of ancient Egypt, where Derek was trying to get information about this Pharaoh Khufu, and that, and the information they exchanged was absolutely amazing, especially when it came to the kind of personality this Pharaoh had. Okay, hard worker. He always tried to make himself. He wanted to make himself proud. Well, he wanted to make sure that his kids were proud of him, but at the same time, he wanted to be proud of his kids. But because he was the kind of person, he was on the go constantly, and that at times he really didn't have time for family because he had the royal duties to take care of. So basically, juggling between job and personal for him was not easy. Like, I'd be amazed if the guy slept at all. Like, his mind was going 50 miles an hour all the time. When it comes to running a land, taking care of a family, and building a pyramid all at the same time. Like, yike. That's kind of scary. But, and it's not just ancient Egypt either. And that there's other areas too that I found was so fascinating in that. But I found a lot of the spiritual activity has been in ancient Egypt, but there's also, I feel that there's been either sightings or something like that with the ancient Mayans, and that a lot of them, like when it comes to chief priests of that area, and the one area that I have a real fascination for right now, okay, is ancient Italy, especially when it comes to Mount Vesuvius and those two towns, Herculaneum and Pompeii, and that I know that there is a lot of spiritual activity in that area. Because a lot of people died almost instantly, and they're kind of confused as to what happened. They're still looking for loved ones, even though today all you can see is just a lot of ruins. But still, like, I would love to visit there, but unfortunately I can't. So I tried to make a link with whoever's there, and that, and I don't know, I did, and that, like, I did make a link with a couple people. It was a younger lady and an older gentleman, and they're in Pompeii, and one was taking care of her sick mother, like it was her sick grandmother, and the other one, a young guy. Well, not young guy. I say he's probably in his mid-late 30s or something like that. And he was, he was on an errand, and then he was on an errand or a mission or a job to go and retrieve something for his boss. And just as he was going to retrieve something for his boss, bang, the eruption happened. So even though all hell was breaking loose, and and the eruption was taking place. Things were raining down on top of him, and that he was more concerned about getting that item to his boss. That was higher for him. That was a higher priority than it was surviving the eruption. And that was getting through the eruption was the second priority, and that fulfilling his boss's request or his boss's wishes to him was top priority. And that, but because the stuff was coming down so hard that he couldn't see where the heck he was going. He was trying to get to his, like, he'd already picked up whatever it was, I think, or either he was on his way back to the boss or he was trying to find a place to get the item. I'm not sure which one it was, but he was frantically trying to find the location. But because he couldn't see where he was going, he was basically walking around, bumping into walls and that. And I don't think he ever found what he was looking for his boss. And that, and when he eventually succumbed to the eruption, and he came out of his physical, and that, and he saw his physical remains, even that took a back seat. He still wanted to get that item for his boss, even though he knew something was wrong. But he was still a very committed worker or a committed servant, and that, and this guy knew that if he got the item and got it back to his boss would say, "Okay, well done, you did a good job. You sacrificed yourself, and so I could get what I asked for. Okay, the gods will be very pleased with you," because that's what my guide told me that the intentions of the boss would be, and that because the boss wasn't about to go outside to the eruption, so he sent his, or no, try again. His boss wasn't about to go across town, so get his servant to do so instead. Then the eruption hit, and that. So I admire this kid, and this kid, this young guy, he had a girl involved, and that. I don't know if it was a girlfriend, fiance, but he had strong feelings towards this girl, and so I don't know if he was getting ready to get married or something like that, but he had family plans, and that. But yet his boss came first. So that's the information I got from the research in the history of ancient Italy and doing the paranormal at the same time, with finding out how the people lived back then, and that fascinating stuff. And I'm still learning. I'm still researching it. So anyway, I'll be doing another stream tomorrow, probably around 12, 1 o'clock, around there, using StreamYard. Okay, so I'll try to inform everybody about this. Okay, I'll be posting this video in that new group that I have, the Paranormal and History. I'll be posting that in that. Okay, and so if you're a history buff like I am, and that, I highly encourage you to do your history research, and then do what I call the spiritual research, the paranormal side, and that, and then combine the two. And I tell you, being able to confirm one with the other, and that, to me, is a reward in itself. That way you learn stuff on the physical and spiritual side, which I think is amazing. Sure, I said, it sure makes time go fast, I tell you that. So anyway, people, like I said, I stream tomorrow, and that I thought I'd do this today, and if you learned anything from this today, beautiful, okay? And if you enjoyed it, well, as you know, get other people to want to see this video, like, share, and subscribe, and that. And I thank a lot of my spiritual family from across the pond, both UK and United States, especially the two beautiful ladies in chat, Tinker and Tasha, and that. And by the way, I'll be posting a link to Tasha's page in the description below to her crafts page. Please support her and support her page. Okay, she makes beautiful stuff, crafts and stuff, absolutely gorgeous stuff. So please show her your support and love, and that. And to anybody else that's watching this stream of this video, and that, God bless you too. I love you too, Tasha. You're a beautiful person, and I do love supporting you. Who knows? Someday I just might come over to the UK, and if I do, I'll give you a big bear hug. So, anyway, people, God bless. Now I'll do the stream tomorrow, and that. I really appreciate your support. You've been beautiful. Love and light.